Hey,
This
what
call
up?
is now being
Felipe
recorded.
Will.
You have a prepaid call from
Silas Johnson.
an incarcerated individual at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be
What up,
monitored and
Jack?
recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call.
What up,
To
Molly?
accept this call, say or dial
Do you ever
5
do
now.
Placer County? I'm not sure where Placer County is at.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, what up, Silas? How you doing today?
I'm all right, man. Just enjoying this little bit of downtime, this down day. How's everything going out there?
Man, I can't complain, man. I'm just hanging out. Today's my day off, so I got a little bit of time on my hands right now. So, I'm at home and had some time on my hands to get some stuff done around the house. But man, I was in the middle of making these silk screens and trying to get some shirts ready. And hail started hitting, so that put a damper on my day. What's up, Taurus? How's it going?
Oh, yeah. Gotta do it every time.
Man, so we got a few people tapping in right now. Let me go ahead and show that recognition right there. So let's see who we got. We got Becca Nash, we got Chad, we got Molly. Hell yeah, some type of Molly in the house. We got Sabrina, we got Lala. See who else do we got in here? We got Taurus and we got Leash, I believe, and then Jen 1968 and let me see what else we got. We got Katie. We got Smoggy Lantern, and I think that's it right there. So hey, I do appreciate you guys. I haven't been on for the last what has it? It's been like 2 weeks that I haven't really been getting on. I've had been preoccupied with other real life, life, just life pretty much. So. Right, I do have some time on my hands, so I am gonna be doing some phone calls today. I know you guys like them court hearings and whatnot. I'll probably have a little bit of time sometime later on, but I haven't forgotten about you guys. It's just a lot of things are going on right now. So today we're gonna be doing a call with Silas, and Silas has had a few things happen. Or that have happened and they are going to be happening in the next few weeks. So we want to go ahead and touch bases on that, and we also want to go over his board of parole hearing back in from last year at the end of 2023. So anything that you want to share with the audience, Silas, before we get going?
I just want to thank everybody for tapping in and joining us this afternoon or evening, wherever you at. Yeah, so this is what we're about to go through is essentially a review of my transcripts and my board of parole hearing, where I received a 3-year denial, and I actually have an upcoming board of parole hearing in 20 days.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded
At 8:30 in the morning, so I have another shot to go in there and show that I'm suitable for release and have another opportunity to go home after 24 long years. We're getting ready for that. Looking forward to that. Yeah, so that's about it. This is Silas M. Johnson, and yeah, go ahead and take it away, James.
All right, let me see. So we got a question from Katie, I think, and she's asking, "Are you doing okay?" I'm good. I'm good. I'm just a bit under the weather. Like I've been having this sore throat for the last few days and a bit of congestion. But other than that, everything's good. I can't complain. We got a comment from Sunrise. She writes, "Hey James and Silas." We also got Matthew. He writes, "Silas." And Matthew, he sent me a comment the other day on my DM, and he's showing a lot of support for Silas is going in front of the parole board, and he feels that he's a changed man. So I highly appreciate you sending those messages, Matthew. Let me see. We also got Sean, and they write James. Let me see. We got Ali Marie writes, "Hey Silas, how are you doing?"
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing well out there. And thank you, Matthew. Hey, I really appreciate your support, man. And yeah, hopefully, with all your well wishes, we're gonna go in here and get this done, man. And I'll be sitting down with James on the live stream from in the land of the living outside of these walls, man.
Man, hey, I'm laughing right now because I just saw a message from Austin. Austin Blue he just tapped in. He said they're trying to off you, James. Let me see. They're trying to off me. Damn, government.
What's up? What's up, Blue?
Man.
What's up, Blue? What's going on, man? It's my guy right there.
Yup.
Another success story right there, man. What's up, Austin Blue, man? I feel my love, man.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, Austin Blue, he's tapped in right now. He's a former lifer. He was in prison for a little bit over 27 years, and he was released last year in March. And he's just building up his life. And man, I'm looking forward to meeting up with him soon and him giving us an update on all the great things that he's doing with his life now and all the progress that he's made. And I don't even think at this point he hasn't even been out for a year and a half, and he's accomplished a lot. So, tipping my hat off to him, for coming out and, taking care of business.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Congrats, man. Congrats on your son, man, your family, man, and continued success, bro.
And then we got real life Ragdoll. She writes greetings from the UK. Just passing through before I head to bed. Hey, thank you. Highly appreciate that. Real life. Let me see who else we got. Sunrise writes, you got this, Silas. Man, praying for you, Silas. You get it this time. Austin wrote, what up, big dog? And then he writes, I love you, bro. That's right. And then let me see. So, hey, man, nothing but, positive comments. So highly appreciate you guys. So today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be using some AI. I'm always talking about, these court hearings and whatnot are AI generated. We're going to be using AI to pretty much just condense Silas's board of parole hearing. I think it's about, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 60 pages. And how long were you in the hearing for? Was it a little bit over 2 hours, Silas?
A little over 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So
63 pages, a little over 2 hours.
So in the state of California, they don't allow access to their board of parole hearings, but they do provide a PDF file of everything that's said inside that hearing. So that file, we're going to be uploading it into AI, if you will, and AI is going to pretty much condense it into an 18-minute conversation, and pretty much they're going to highlight some of the key points in the hearing that Silas had. So we're going to be listening to that all together. So just want to go ahead and give you guys a heads up. Want to be transparent as far as what's happening right now. And let me see, Chad Roll. We should use AI to see what you're gonna look like with hair and no mustache.
Hey, I just want to let y'all know. Beforehand that James is the one that dreamed this up. So if this happens to be Skynet from the Terminator, you can thank him.
All right. So, hey, what's up, Renee? How's it going? Yeah, man. Hey, I miss jumping on, but man, sometimes life, catches up on you. So, I had to. There's some things that I need to take care of, but I got some time on my hands today. And Ali wrote, "OMG, Silas is that's funny." Hey, Angie, thank you for the follow. All right, so I'm about to hit the button, and then so like I said, this is AI. This is not real. Just wanna be transparent with you guys. All right. Hey, thank you, Austin.
But the facts are real.
Yeah.
The facts disclosed are from the actual hearing. So everything that's disclosed, all of the case factors, everything about me, the results from the hearing, is straight from the transcript. So we just want to make that clear as well.
Yeah,
it's authentic.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. If you guys could let me know if you guys could hear, if it's loud enough for you guys, and if it's not, let me know, and I'll raise the volume up. Right, I'm about to hit play. Here we go. Oh, hold on, I messed up.
Expelled like 4 times, dropped out senior year, tried occupational school, but that didn't stick either. No mention of learning disabilities or anything like that being diagnosed.
So school's falling apart. What about friends, social life? This is where the gang connection comes in.
Exactly. Around 15, he starts hanging out with the Liggett Street Gangsters. That's a blood set. Joined when he was 16. He said it was about seeking acceptance, you know.
A common story, unfortunately.
It is. Got into the usual gang stuff, fighting, parties. He described himself as a follower at first, but then something shifted. He wanted to be a leader, wanted to be feared.
That desire to be feared, that's telling. Did anything make him pause, think about the risks?
Yes, he mentioned a friend dying. Said that made the dangers of gang life feel very real.
But it didn't stop the behavior entirely. What else was going on?
Mostly fighting, he said, and selling drugs. Started selling around 15.
And that led to his first real trouble with the law.
His first juvenile arrest, yeah, at 16. Transporting and selling drugs plus robbery. Turns out he sold to an undercover police officer.
Oof. So that landed him in juvenile hall.
Mm-hmm. And he also mentioned he started carrying a weapon around that same age, 16.
The board also asked about past relationships, right? Before the life crime.
They did. He admitted being unfaithful, admitted to verbal abuse in relationships. But he denied physical, intimate partner violence.
Okay, so juvenile record, carrying a weapon. What about his adult arrests before
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Threatening a crime with intent to terrorize. Got 36 months probation for that.
What was that about?
Apparently confronting a neighbor who was talking to his young cousin. Then reckless driving and evading an officer 2 separate times. Served time for those.
Why was he evading?
He said one time it was because a cousin in the car had a gun and he was trying to evade the CHP. Oh, and also a citation for drinking in public when he was 19.
So you see this buildup. Not learning from juvenile hall, probation, the seriousness seems to be increasing.
Definitely an escalation, which unfortunately leads us to the commitment offense, the life crime, 2 separate incidents involved, right?
That's right. First, November 27th, 2000, the robbery of Andrew Calley.
Yeah, he went to the door, acted like he wanted to buy marijuana, knew the guy apparently through an associate. Then pulled a gun, forced Calley to the floor. He and 2 others stole guns and about $1,200.
And his reasons, why target this specific person?
He put it down to greed, selfishness, being unemployed, and also this belief that Calley was selling drugs in his territory. That gang mentality again.
That possessiveness, yeah. Based on nothing real, just gang affiliation. And then, not long after, maybe 6 weeks later, January 5th, 2001, the murder.
Yes, the murder of Mr. Earls. This happened at some kind of gang gathering. Johnson felt the victim, Mr. Earls, was out of place, didn't belong there.
Even though others vouched for him.
Right. He said others told him the guy was cool, but Johnson threatened him anyway. When Mr. Earls tried to leave, tried to run.
Johnson shot him.
You have 60
Shot him several
seconds
times.
remaining.
When asked why, he listed, well, a lot of things. Greed, selfishness, envy, vengefulness, that sense of entitlement to the neighborhood, ambition. Destructive ambition, he called it. Weaponized fear.
Wow.
He did acknowledge, looking back, that he didn't own anything there. It was the gang that gave him that feeling of power he felt he lacked growing up. He described his thinking then as warped, crazy, destructive.
Did he say when he started to see it that way?
He said that understanding really developed more recently, maybe in the last 6 or 7 years before the hearing. He framed it as a return to values his father and grandfather had taught him, realizing he was the one making things unsafe.
A really chilling insight into the mindset that led to taking a life. Okay, so that's the picture before prison. What happened once he was incarcerated? Post.
All right, Silas, so I'm going to pause it right now because I know it's about to hang up, so we could go ahead and give you time to call back and we'll go ahead and continue.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, so pretty much this whole board parole hearing that we're listening to here right now, it's pretty much breaking down his whole pretty much his whole life. When it comes to, his household, his criminal life, and ultimately, what led him to prison. I'm not sure how many of you caught that, but when it said the 60-second announcement, I'm pretty sure maybe you guys didn't hear it, but yeah, they said that he shot an individual, and here it is. He's calling back, so let me plug him back on, and then I'll go ahead and I'll continue.
This is Global Telling. You have a prepaid call from
Silas Johnson.
an incarcerated individual at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
5.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello, Silas.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. So before I started up here, I'll go. I got two questions here. So the first question is from, or a comment is from Super Raw, and he wrote, "Damn, 24 years ago. Yeah, man, it's a whole lifetime. You know, I'm pretty sure there's people in here that they've been on this planet for 24 years, pretty much the whole time that Silas has been in prison." And Ali had a question. She writes, "Do a lot of licenses get overturned or no? How how often do you see people get their life sentences overturned, Silas?"
It's quite rare actually. It's rare that licenses are overturned, and if they are, it's usually based on something technical that happened, a procedural error, not actual innocence. It's really rare. I mean, it's not rare that lifers get released nowadays, thank God, you know. But as far as their case being overturned and recalled and someone just going free, that's extremely rare.
All right, thank you. And then let me see. Austin Blue wrote, "Hardly never." Yeah, so you know he was in prison for 27 years, so it's not something that you see every day. It's probably something like I would maybe say something similar to winning the lottery if you do get it overturned. And let me ask you something, Silas. So
yeah,
you know
exactly.
you're listening to this AI, you know, pretty much going through your board of parole hearing, or like. Does the technology that we got out here, what do you think about it? Like just hearing it when I told you like, "Hey Silas, I got this program that I could run your hearing through," like what were you expecting to hear when I played it for you?
I was expecting to hear like some, I don't know if you remember like the Max, like for, I guess it was like for Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Remember like the robot back in the day?
Yeah.
They used to have like on the commercials or whatever.
Yeah. I know.
Remember
exactly.
that? Like
yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like, right. I thought it was or like the automated system here. You know, I thought it was gonna be like robotic and just like reading along. And I didn't think that it would be an actual examination and conversational how they're dissecting it. It's just crazy, surreal to hear, you know, and how accurate it is, you know, the fact that they are actually going through, they processed all of the information and they're going through the facts. Like, as I'm hearing it, you know, the terms that they're using in the language is verbatim from the transcripts, but it's not being presented in a way that's just boring and it just sounds like they're just reading off the transcripts, you know. It's surreal. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know what? I had seen, like a few months ago, I had seen it pop up on TikTok, and people were talking about, like, man, that's pretty cool. I was like, let me see, let me plug in some PDF files to it to see, you know, what we get back. And I put it in. I was like, wow. I was like, man, I was amazed. I was like, damn, AI is doing all of this. I was like, man, I can't wait till I show this to Silas so he could hear it. And let me see. Float like a butterfly. Right. Will they not be listening to this and get him in trouble? Just a question. No. So this file that I put into this AI program, it's public. It's a public record. This information was provided to me directly from the board of parole. So I didn't obtain it through any false pretenses or whatnot. Anybody could request these documents. So the only thing that I'm doing here is I'm sharing it with you guys and with Silas, so you guys could get a better understanding of what happens in these border parole hearings, since they're not open to the public. But you know, reading these PDF files, you get a clear understanding of what's happening. It's just a lot of reading. So, you know, I'm not very comfortable reading. So, you know, we would be here for hours if I'm trying to go through those 62 pages, you know. So I don't have that type of time, and AI definitely helps speed this up, which it breaks it down to about a little bit over 18 minutes. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and continue it, and we'll go ahead and continue listening to what they have to say. All right.
Commitment.
Right, equally important for the board. He said initially he felt completely hopeless, despondent. His daughter was just a baby, maybe a year old. Facing 24 to life, he thought he'd never get out.
And prison itself wasn't exactly a smooth ride at first. Sounds like a violent environment.
Very. He got transferred to Salinas Valley, a yard known for a high-violent CR ward, they called it. He saw someone get stabbed right in front of him.
That must have been terrifying.
It seems it was. He said the fear of becoming a victim himself led him to adopt violence as a defense mechanism. To cope, he actually said he wanted to be feared rather than live in fear.
So violence became protection.
Became a safe place, in his words. A way to handle anger, sadness, hopelessness, confusion. It's a really twisted perspective, but it shows that ingrained trauma response.
And that led to more trouble inside.
Oh, yeah. It led to him spending 7.5 years in the SHU, the security housing unit. Basically segregation. He said he just didn't care about the rules and general population. His goal in the SHU was just maintaining that fear, that respect among other gang members, purely for survival in that setting.
7.5 years, that's a long time in isolation. Was there a specific moment things started to change, a turning point?
He pointed to his father's death in 2015. Said that was the first time he really started to reflect seriously on his life, his impact.
Okay, 2015. But the board noted his disciplinary issues didn't just stop then, did they?
No, and that's a critical point the commissioners brought up. The record showed he still had problems after 2015, possession of a cell phone in 2016, then fighting and possessing a weapon in 2017.
This
And then
call
3
and your
serious
telephone
disciplinary
number will be
reports,
monitored and
RVRs for
recorded.
substance use in 2018.
How did he explain those, especially the drugs, the phone?
He admitted he initially tried to justify them, called them victimless crimes.
Which suggests he still wasn't fully getting it, right? The impact of his choices, even inside.
Exactly. It points to maybe still lacking some empathy, not grasping the ripple effects. The real shift, he claimed, came later, November 2020.
What happened then?
He was at Imperial Valley College, part of the PIA program, said studying psychology, getting involved in the Alternative Violence Project AVP, that's when he felt real personal growth.
How so?
He realized he'd sort of outgrown his old gang associates, their mindset, saw it as pointless, lacking purpose. He found a passion for writing, he reconciled with his mother, reconnected with family, started really pursuing his degree, even began facilitating EVP workshops for others.
So he felt he couldn't square that growth with being involved in the gang anymore.
That's what he said. Couldn't reconcile it even being on the fridges. He needed to break away completely.
But then there was this other issue that came up, the EDD fraud. And something about restitution. That seems like a major contradiction to this growth narrative.
It was definitely a serious setback, and the board focused on it. He actually self-reported the EDD fraud, admitted doing it. That triggered an investigation which confirmed it.
Okay, self-reporting is one thing.
Right. But they also found he'd been letting other inmates put money on his books, seemingly to avoid it being taken for restitution he owed.
Ah, how did he explain that?
He took responsibility for both things.
Can you pause it right here?
Yeah. I paused it.
Okay, so this is Silas checking in. So I just want to clarify right here in the program, this is the only thing that's inaccurate in the reading, and it's the fact that I was dinged for circumventing restitution, and what the program is saying is that I had people put money on my books. Well, I have restitution, so in order to avoid restitution, I was putting money on other people's books. So that's the only thing that's inaccurate. I was circumventing restitution, but I was doing it by not sending money to my books and sending it to other people's books, so I didn't get charged restitution. So just to clear that up, that's the only inaccurate thing in the cast.
So
okay, James.
So was that? But in the board hearing, that wasn't everything was clear on the board hearing, right? They interpreted the correct way that you just explained to us. It's just the AI that's interpreted it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Right.
All right. So let me go ahead and I'll go ahead and hit the play button. And if you guys have any questions while you guys are listening to this for Silas, or at the end, if you guys have any questions for any clarification, just drop the questions, and I'll be more than happy to ask any questions that you guys have for Silas.
Attributed it to that old entrenched criminal thinking. He admitted he first downplayed the restitution thing, thought it wasn't a big deal, called it a blind spot.
A blind spot? That sounds like minimizing.
It does. But he stated he now understood the harm delaying justice for victims, getting others involved in misconduct. He stressed the transformation wasn't overnight. It was gradual.
Okay, gradual change. What about programs? What was he actually doing inside to rehabilitate?
He listed quite a few. Substance abuse groups like AA, NA, Yuga, ARC, Cage Rage for Anger Management, recently signed up for CBA Life Skills.
consistent participation?
Well, there were some issues. His attendance in some recent self-help classes got interrupted by scheduling conflicts with his college courses. He's pursuing a bachelor's degree through San Diego State.
So college took priority.
It seems like it at times. For example, he was removed from a program called Beyond the Boys back in 2020 for missing sessions, possibly due to schedule clashes. Same with the LIFA program briefly in 2023, unexcused absences linked to the SDSU schedule. He did apparently get back into Cage Your Rage recently when his school schedule allowed.
So balancing education and self-help may be a point of concern for the board?
Potentially, yeah. They want to see consistent engagement in programs addressing the core issues.
And how did he demonstrate insight, remorse, beyond just saying sorry?
He submitted writings about his childhood, apology letters, relapse prevention plans. In the morning, he specifically expressed remorse towards Mr. Earls, Mr. Calley, and also named Miss Cornish and Mr. Hasties, presumably victims of his earlier crimes, and acknowledged the harm to their families and others.
Okay, so a mixed picture inside. Progress, but also significant recent missteps with the fraud and restitution and some inconsistency in programming. What were his plans if they did grant parole?
He had written parole plans, support letters. His main goal was finishing that psychology degree and becoming an addiction counselor. He said he had a strong support network ready and had acceptances to transitional housing programs.
The board also gets a professional risk assessment, right? The CRA, what did that say?
Yes, the comprehensive risk assessment. It rated his risk for future violence as moderate, but noted he was on the higher side of moderate.
Why high moderate? What factors?
The combination of things. The early trauma leading to insecurity, poor coping skills, his long gang involvement and the powerful influence of those peers, the history of antisocial and violent behavior starting young and escalating, attitudes justifying violence, his pretty significant disciplinary record in prison failures on supervision, violence, lingering criminal attitudes, and traits like irresponsibility, impulsivity.
Did he agree with that historical picture?
He did, yeah. He agreed that assessment of his past was accurate.
But did the CRA see any positives, any signs of change?
Oh, yes. The clinician noted positive factors, too. No current indicators suggesting imminent violence risk. He was seen as responsive to treatment and supervision. He showed self-awareness about his past criminality, took responsibility for the life crime, and expressed sincere remorse, though the report noted this remorse took time to develop.
So the CRA basically confirmed the complexity, linked the childhood instability to seeking acceptance in gangs.
Exactly. And the report suggested that the higher moderate rating was heavily influenced by the recency of his gang disassociation and those recent financial misconduct issues, the EDD fraud, the book money. But the clinician also acknowledged he'd taken notable steps in accountability and planning for his risk management.
Okay, so all that laid out. Testimony, reports, then closing statements.
Hey, Silas, let me ask you something. So would you mind explaining to the audience what EDD fraud is at? Because some people, they might not be from the United States, so they may not be familiar with what EDD stands for, or maybe they don't even offer these type of programs, where they're listening from.
Okay, sure. So EDD stands for Employment Development Department, and it's a sector, it's a government sector based in California that provides financial assistance and relief, specifically during COVID, to small business owners and people who are on the verge of eviction. And so someone in society could file and access $10,000 and, kind of get a life vest, a lifeboat, so they wouldn't get evicted. And I know a moratorium was placed on evictions, but, they would be able to buy all of the things that they need for their family and, to survive. And so that money.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
However, people like me, I found out through word of mouth that if you could just use your personal information and file, and you could access the money. And so I foolishly accessed money from the Employment Development Department and got $10,000. And so that money was for people who are out there working and struggling, who were probably a paycheck away from eviction, and I foolishly accessed that money and took resources away from people who actually work for a living and were deserving of that money. So yeah, that's what EDD is. And that's what my EDD fraud consisted of.
All right, and then when you did this, were you anticipating ever getting out of prison at that time, or what was your mindset? When you were when you abused that system. I know I was about to hang up, so if you want to call
This
back.
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
All right, so it hung up. We'll wait for him to call back, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and continue. So so I'm currently on the phone with Silas M. Johnson. He is going to be going to the parole board in about 20 days, and he went to the parole board back in at the end of 2023, where he was given a 3-year denial due to the EDD fraud. So he's anticipating a grant when he does go to the parole board in 20 days, and if everything goes well for him, he should be coming home at the end of I would say, I think November, I would say. So if that does happen, I'll be there at the gate. I'll be recording it, and I'll be sharing it with you guys. And there he is. He is calling back. We'll go ahead and continue right now.
This call is now being recorded. You have a prepaid call from
Silas Johnson.
an incarcerated individual at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
Cinco.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Okay. So to answer your question, at that point when I committed the EDD fraud, there was the slim possibility of, me being able to obtain my freedom and to have a life outside of prison. But for me, it was like it was just like a fool's hope, the possibility was so slim to me that it wasn't real in my mind, and even the small bit of hope that I had to earn a suitability, it just was overtaken by my impulsivity, just by my greed and impulsivity. Like, hey, that's in the future. I got to get it now. I'm in prison right now, and I need resources now. So screw this, and I'm going to do this, and consequences be damned, which is how I've gotten in trouble most of my life, is just being impulsive and acting and, not really caring about the consequences and just suffering the consequences, So there was a slither of hope that I could get out of prison one day, but it wasn't enough to deter me,
Thank you for sharing that with us, Silas. And also, how rampant was the abuse of the EDD fraud, amongst your peers?
I mean, it was so rampant. I mean, that I never even spoke to someone about it, like individually had a conversation about it. I worked in TIA where we sold the boxers, and we made boxers and smocks and different things. And like the conversation was just so rampant. Like I learned how to do it, how to actually access it by just listening. I mean, that's how rampant it was. Because everybody was talking about it. Like you go back on the yard, and and it's a significant amount of the population.
You know what? I do.
We had.
Go ahead, Silas.
Go ahead. No, what I was going to say is we actually had some government, like some government aid, like I think it was like 3,600 that we actually legally had access to, and I never accessed that, because I had access to $10,000 and thinking that, okay, well, I'm only going to do one or the other, trying to be slick, and
yeah.
I actually didn't even get that legal money that I could have gotten from the IRS, being greedy,
With that, I did have a few friends that were in prison during that time, and I did mention that to them. I was like, hey, if you guys want 3,600, the IRS is offering this. I'll send you the forms. Just fill them out, and it's legal. You're not doing anything illegal. Everybody's entitled to this money, and the people that they listened to me got that money if they didn't have child support. And I do recall, even on the street, people would approach me like, hey, like you could apply for a PP loan, and and you could get 20 racks. The person that's filling out the paperwork, they'll give you 5,000. It's nothing's gonna happen. I'm straight. I'd rather be making peanuts on the street than eventually the government's gonna come after me over $20,000 that I'm just gonna blow, over on silly stuff.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Hey, and I'll tell you something right now, right? And this is for all of the viewers, just use me as a cautionary tale, right? Like everything that's done in the dark is gonna come to the light. Like you're never getting away with anything, even when you think you are. Like, so the reason why I wasn't able to access that money through the IRS is because they couldn't authenticate my identity. They couldn't authenticate my identity because in CDCR records, I'm in prison under my brother's social security number. And how that happened is when earlier in the cast, I'm pretty sure the viewers heard I had caught a drinking in public when I was 19. Well, when I was arrested for it, I gave the cops my brother's name. So I was entered into the system as him. The reckless driving, when I was arrested, I gave by the CHP, I gave them my brother's name, that same brother, and I was entered into the system as him. For the terrorist threats, the fight I had where I went to the county jail for 2 weeks in West Valley Detention out there in front of them, I gave them that same brother's name. I was entered into the system as him. So not only is he my alias, he is actually, his social security is in my records in CDCR. And that is the reason why I couldn't claim the $3,600 legal dollars that I was actually entitled to.
Hey, Silas, let me ask you, why was it that you would use your brother's name instead of yours?
Because I was on the run from 1995 until I got arrested in 2001 for probation violation.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, you used his name to be able to circumvent and be able to get released, get OR'd, get time served, so you could get, because back then, right, it's not like now where they would fingerprint you and then, your information would pop up, within minutes or instantly. Back then, they would have to, go ahead.
I'll tell you a crazy story. Right? So for the drinking in public, man, I got arrested. I got arrested by a Foothill division, and they took me to the division. I actually saw a picture of myself in the police station.
Yeah.
And when I got arrested in Altadena by the CHP, they took me to, I think it was La Cañada Flint Ridge or somewhere about there, to their station. They actually did that. They fingerprinted me, and I spent the night there before they transferred me to LA County Jail. And they came to the cell in the morning, and they asked me who my father was. I gave them my brother's father's name, and they said, well, you sure your dad isn't James Johnson? And I was like, oh, wow. And so they actually discovered who I was, right? But I still had a wristband. I didn't have a wristband yet. So they transferred me to the LA County Jail. And when I was getting processed in Twin Towers, the woman at the window said, Silas Johnson? And I said, no, my name is Landry Bernstein. And she said, well, which one is your name? And I said, Landry Bernstein. She gave me a wristband with my brother's name. And 5 days later, I went to court, and they released me from the 2000 floor, and I walked out of the county jail.
You know what? Back then, I mean, I can say that I did that myself. When I was a juvenile, I think when I was like 16, I said I was 18, and the reason I did that was because they will let you go. And if it was your first time getting arrested as an adult, they will let you go. So I did that, and I ended up in the Van Nuys Glass House. But unfortunately for me, I got arrested on a Friday, and it was a 3-day weekend. So next court wasn't gonna start back up until Tuesday. So by the time I think I'm not sure if it was Sunday or Monday, they figured out that it wasn't me, or it was me. That I had given a fake name. So giving fake names back then was a thing, and I did it myself. So sometimes you were trying to get out instantly, and then you wanted to pay the consequences later. You were on that IOU plan, if you will, if that makes any sense. But for me, it didn't work out, so I ended up going to camp over it. But it took some time. Let me see. CMG is asking fake names, additional charges.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Did you get any additional charges?
No, I actually didn't. My reward was missing out on $3,600 some 20 years later.
Yeah, it be like that sometimes, you know. Hey, you don't, when you're out there doing things, you don't think that it's gonna affect you, down the road, and things like that happen. So, but hey, you live and you learn, and hopefully you don't make those same mistakes again, and you become a better person, right?
Yeah, definitely. And when I go home, I'll definitely be harassing the IRS about my $3,600.
That's right. All right. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go ahead and continue with the reading of his parole board hearing. I'm not sure how much longer we got on it, but we'll finish it up.
What did his lawyer argue?
The attorney, Steve Napolitano, really hammered home the self-reporting of the EDD fraud as a sign of taking responsibility. He emphasized the journey from the early trauma, deep gang involvement, to actively disassociating since 2020.
Highlighted the clean record recently?
Yeah, pointed out he'd been discipline-free since 2018, no violence in 6 years. Recapped the self-help participation, the educational milestones, GED, AA, now the bachelor's program. Positive work reports, sobriety since 2018. Mentioned he'd been seeing a therapist since 2021 for trauma and anger, and stressed the parole plans were solid.
And argued the risk assessment was maybe too high.
Essentially, yes. Argued the mitigating factors and his genuine efforts maybe weren't fully captured in the rating. Said the sincerity of his change was more important than just how much time had passed.
Then Silas Johnson himself got to speak. What was the core of his statement?
It was quite comprehensive. He started by thanking everyone, then immediately focused on the victims named Mr. Earls, Mr. Calley, Miss Cornish, Mr. Hastings again, and their families, saying they were the primary reason for the hearing. Took full responsibility, called his past self immature, vengeful, angry, fearful.
Acknowledged the criminal thinking.
Explicitly. Said that thinking started at 15 led to impulsivity and harm. Committed to being hypervigilant about his thoughts now. Talked about his work with AVP as altruistic. Said he understood now no victimless crimes, including the EDD and restitution stuff.
How did he frame justice?
Said true justice meant changing his behavior, his mind, his heart. Moving from self-centered to victim-centered thinking. He also mentioned his mother had passed away recently, and he wanted to make his parents proud. Said he'd reconciled with her before she died. She saw his achievements, even his published book of poetry.
A book of poetry?
Yeah, apparently loyalties were going towards restitution. He really pushed back against old labels. Gang member, criminal. Said he's a son, father, poet, author, student, scholar now. Believes he controlled his destiny. Won't accept negative labels. Mission is to rebuild trust. Apologized again, sincerely.
He sounded like he understood they might still deny him.
He did. He finished by saying he felt frees now in prison than before, having dealt with things. Acknowledged the board might find him unsuitable given his history, but pledged to keep improving regardless.
A powerful statement, as you said, but the board's decision.
Despite everything, the board found him unsuitable for parole. They concluded his release would pose an unreasonable risk to public safety at that time.
Did they acknowledge any of the good things? The mitigating factors?
Yes, they did. They noted his age. 46 older inmates tend to recidivate less. They explicitly mentioned the youth offender factors, acknowledging his diminished culpability and immaturity back when the crime happened, especially that entitlement thinking. They credited his educational progress, positive work reports, and his honesty about some past misconduct as signs of growth.
But not enough. What were the overriding concerns, the aggravating factors?
They felt the negatives outweighed the positives. They pointed to his whole criminal history, the escalating seriousness, the lack of self-control during the crime, the gang influence, the nature of the crime itself, calling the murder vicious and deplorable, tied to territory and the home invasion robbery.
And his prison record.
The big factor. The significant institutional misconduct, 16 RVRs total, 7 violent, 3 substance-related, even if the last was 2018. Crucially, the recent misconduct. The EBD fraud into 2021, the restitution issue in 2023, they felt there wasn't enough proof of sustained rehab programming targeting those specific recent issues.
And his insight, they questioned that.
They felt his awareness of his criminal thinking was still limited. Pointed to inconsistencies in how he talked about the recent financial missteps. Basically, they felt he needed more work, specifically on that criminal thinking pattern. And they suggested maybe he needed to shift focus back to self-help programs, perhaps even over education for a while, to tackle those risk factors head on. The moderate risk assessment supported their conclusion.
So denied parole. For how long?
Denied for 3 years. They felt that time was needed to address those lingering aggravating factors.
Can he get seen sooner?
Yes, there are possibilities. He can petition earlier if circumstances change significantly or new information comes up. Plus, there's an automatic administrative review after 1 year. If he stays discipline-free and engages in programs, that review could lead to his next hearing being moved up.
And they recommended
60
specific
seconds
things for him to
remaining.
work on.
Yes, continued self-help, especially programs on criminal thinking and denial management.
Wow. Looking at this whole hearing transcript really does show just how incredibly complex these decisions are. What are the big takeaways from Johnson's case, would you say?
Well, you really see the board grappling with mandated youth offender considerations, but weighing them against a long, serious history. There's that constant tension between acknowledging past actions decades ago and more recently, and evaluating genuine recent change. It really highlights how crucial consistent institutional behavior and targeted programming are. It's not just about staying out of trouble, it's about actively working on the root causes, especially when recent mistakes happen.
Yeah, it's definitely not black and white. The board has this immense task, balancing someone's potential for rehabilitation, their remorse, against the absolute need to protect the public.
Absolutely. And for you, the listener, diving deep like this gives you such a richer picture than just reading a headline. You see all the layers, the legal aspects, the deeply personal stories, the tough judgments the parole board has to make based on all this evidence.
It's certainly made me. Which leads to our final thought for you. What does real, lasting rehabilitation actually look like? And how do you weigh terrible past actions against clear evidence of change when deciding if someone is ready to rejoin society? It makes you consider the challenges, not just for the person incarcerated trying to turn their life around, but also for the board members making these incredibly high-stakes decisions.
Comments, Cornbread. It is AI.
This is Global Telling.
This call is now
you have a
being
prepaid
recorded.
call from
Silas Johnson.
an incarcerated individual at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
Cinco.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Okay. I'm back.
All right, so it just finished up right now, and just to be transparent here, that was AI, that we're talking. Those two individuals were AI generated. Me and Silas, we are not AI generated. We are living flesh, but I wanted to try something new, and this was it right here. We wanted to go through his board of parole hearing since he is having a hearing coming up in the next 20 days.
Or are we?
Or I hope not. I hope not. I hope I'm real. Hey, you know what?
I don't know what's real after that, man.
Hey, Silas, no, you know what? There's people that have accounts that they're not real. They're all AI generated content, videos, and it's getting to the point where you can't tell what's real and what's AI generated.
It's getting kind of spooky, man.
It is. Let me see. Cornbread wrote, that AI stuff is getting insane, though. Let me see. Soccerman121 wrote, oh, cool. I didn't know that, but cool. Haha. Follow your court streams all day. Thank you. Highly appreciate that, Soccerman. Yeah. So yeah, we wanted to try something new. I know the majority of you like to watch in on the initial appearances or the board of parole hearings that I normally stream. But sometimes you gotta switch it up and share different things. So that's what we're doing. Plus, like I mentioned earlier on, Silas does have a board of parole hearing coming up soon in 20 days. I know a lot of you guys are wishing him good luck on that hearing, and if everything goes well for Silas, we will be there when he walks out them gates. When do you anticipate? Have you done the math on that? Would it be like late November or early December?
Late November. Late November. Barring an embank, it would be late November.
Yeah, I'm gonna man, I'm getting all my gear up, ready, and man, we'll be out there. We'll be camping out there at 5:05 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And get the first images of Silas. Getting off that van. Don't forget, Silas. Get them duffel bags. Yeah, I got you. By December, man, I'll be a pro making these shirts. I am, over these last days, partly for I've been talking about it, that I wanted to start silk screening, and this is what I was able to come up with today. My wife gave me an old T-shirt that she had, and this is what I've come up with. This is just one of the first images that I've done. So there's many more to come. I took a class last week. I was out in LA, and I went to take a spring silk screening class, which really helped me figure out what the technique was. And here I am. I did my first silk screen today. I've been trying over the last few weeks to try to get it down, and now I got something that I could show you guys. So there's more to come. I am gonna be making some shirts, so be on the lookout. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Going global with it.
Yeah. So anything else that you want to share with our audience before we part ways today, Silas?
Man, just as always, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and sending their well wishes. Just being a part of my journey. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be able to share my journey with all of the viewers out there, and I look forward to bringing this thing full circle and to be meeting up with you outside of these gates, man, and having the viewers continue to check out my progress out there in the world, and man, watch me start. Well, I was going to say start from scratch, but continue the progress that I've been building on. And yeah, man, stay tuned.
All right,
June 25th, I still have some good news.
Let me read some of these comments right here. So let me see. Miss Shepherd, hey, I missed you guys too. I'll try to be jumping out a little bit more frequently. Let me see. Cornbread writes, "Good luck, fam. Keep your head up." She also wrote, "Remember, nothing in life is worth having come easy." Chad wrote, "Good luck, Silas. Much love. We'll see you soon. We need that logo on one." Yeah, for sure, Chad. I'm working on that right now. Let me see. And then Soccer, are you ready for Darrell Brooks' appeal? It's gonna be. Yeah, I'll look that one up. I'm not sure who that is, but I'm gonna look it up. Let me see. Wishing you luck, writes. Wishing you luck, Silas, writes Taurus. Super Roll writes, "Good luck and Godspeed, Silas." Let me see. Cornbread, see you on the other side, brother. Christina writes, "I have a question for you." Big love, Silas, from Jeanette. Christina wrote, "I sent you a gift. Thank you. Highly appreciate that, Christina." Let me see. Definitely opened up my eyes for life, writes Super Roll. Let me see. CMG writes, "Sounds like he's making a change for the positive. Keep it up." Cynthia writes, "Hello, James. Nice seeing you." Hey, nice seeing you too, Cynthia. Highly appreciate you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small little break right now. I am anticipating some more phone calls at 5 p.m., but I got to run because I got to go use the restroom. My bladder is about to explode. So, but hey, I do appreciate you guys. I am Collect Call James. You are listening to Collect Call James and Silas. And like I said around here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it slices out. And with that, we're out of here. A rato.